Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get started into this game, a quick apology that when I was recording this, I did not have my mic set up properly, and the whole thing got recorded from an alternative microphone, which is part of a crappy webcam, so the audio is pretty much very off on this game, but I don't really have the time or ability right now to re-record it, so I figured uploading it with bad audio is better than nothing, so here it is. Sorry again, but hope you enjoy it.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with another one of the MSL 100 series games. This is number 66, going to be between Nalra and BOXER. And by the way, so if you saw, I did end up uploading by popular demand the glitched replay commentary that I did. And after that, I said, you know what? I'm gonna do another replay commentary just so I got a good one on the books, right? And I did, and so many things went wrong, and then the replay ended before the end of the game. I think it was way too early for a GG, and there was other issues, so it was just a pain in the butt. I was like, okay, I'm determined. So I got another replay, and this time I checked, and I fast forwarded the replay. I put on 8x, and I went through, and halfway through the replay, it glitched again, and anyway, so I'm trying to do some replay commentaries. It's not working. It's not working. I mean, I think the ones that I found were older replays, because I was trying to find replays from the before times. Anyway, I'll have to get some more modern replays, I guess. Even though, like I said before, everyone's kind of doing modern replays, so I don't know if there's as much value in that. I like these old games. They're potato quality, but they're good. The potato quality video, but nice quality nostalgia. In any case, one of the replays that glitched out and the player stopped playing was the player who's going to be the Protoss player in the top left of this map, Nalra. And he's going to be playing against BOXER in the bottom right-hand corner of this map. And this is exciting. This is the Stout MSL, which I think I've cast some other MSL 100 games from this tournament. And Stout MSL, this is the semifinals. The winner of this goes on to the finals. This is game number 2 in the semifinals as well. And you can see on the minimap that Nalra is up 1-0. Yeah, so anxious to see how this goes. So this is an interesting point. I just realized BOXER is okay, let me guys tell you a story. I was in college, and I was studying music partly in college. I ended up getting a degree in history, but I was studying music as well. And one of my music professors told me this story. He said that one time someone asked him to name the top 10 most influential people in music. He named off 10 composers. He was a classical music professor. And they said, well, why didn't you mention Bach? And he said, well, if I asked you to name the top 10 most important religious figures, would you mention God? And it was just Bach is so influential on Western music that it's didn't even have to mention it because it was so obvious, right? And so I just realized right now that I was about to not even introduce BOXER because he is so iconic and so important to esports that I'm no one watching this is not gonna know who BOXER is, right? And it didn't even occur to me that anyone in the world would not know who a BOXER is. Emil Juan. But just in case somehow you found this video without ever watching a StarCraft game before in your life, BOXER is a friggin' legend. He is an absolute monster, and he was a monster of the game in the early 2000s, right? And he ended up being competitive until 2006-ish. So he's had a long career, a very, very long career, and ended up, but he was the strongest compared to other players in the early 2000s. And that's one of the reasons why StarCraft became an esport, because you had a showman like BOXER who could just play outstanding games and just do really cool stuff, really interesting strategies, like getting a starport, for example, off of one base. This is crazy. Templar Archives going down for Nalra, by the way, as well. So both players going for one base kind of, I don't want to say cheesy builds, because, one base play was pretty typical back in the day during this time period. And as we can see, this is also an island map. So there's no reason to, there's no like easy expansion to get. So you kind of have to just get like something like a shuttle or a wraith or what have you. And so the Templar Archives is obviously not quite completed yet, and so there's no Templar in the shuttle. Probably a few zealots to do some harassment. It'd be interesting to see what happens, because I don't know if BOXER has any vultures or anything like that to defend against this. Nope, it's just a probe. It's a scouting probe. And he's going to spot the control tower being built. I think he spotted the armory as well. It's going to go down really quickly. So that's really interesting. He just sent a probe across the map. I was expecting a couple zealots to be in there, something like that. Instead, he is just making dragoons. So I could probably spend all day just talking about BOXER, probably. But I'm going to try and stop myself from doing that. But I do want to, and he's got another probe in that shuttle onto one of those island expansions, so that's cool too. And now he's going to put some Dark Templar in there. BOXER does have a comset station already, so I don't think this is going to be too big of a deal. But we'll see. Okay, 4 Goliaths being loaded up in this dropship. BOXER is going to be... Oh, no, he did not spot it. His barracks flying just a little bit too late through the path of that shuttle. Doesn't see it. Will the dropship and the shuttle coincide? Will they cross paths? The observers are trying to find out, and it looks like they just missed each other as well. And BOXER rerouting, probably in order to avoid being spotted, but instead he doesn't spot this shuttle, which is pretty crucial. I mean, he knows the shuttle exists, right? Comset station exists as well. More Goliaths are popping out. He's going up to the top right, maybe just to scout for a hidden expansion up there. Engineering bay is going down, and he's offloaded the units inside there, running into the main base. There's a couple Goliaths there. If he can take out one of the Goliaths, then he won't have enough firepower, I don't think, to deal with those Dark Templar, even with the Comsat. Oh, look at this. He's surrounding the Comsat station with his SCV, so it can't be killed off by one of the Dark Templar. Another Dark Templar going after the Goliaths as well. Dragoon is now coming here, going after the dropship, which would be really crucial if he got that dropship, but the Dragoon is no match for the mighty power of the all-powerful SCV. And here we go. The Comsat goes down. He kills off two of the DTs, but there's 2 more in this base now as well. Shuttle came back for another trip, and more TTs coming in here to the main. Does he have enough energy for another scan? He does. He scans. He kills off one. Can he kill the other before it gets out of range? No, it sneaks out of range of the scan. There's a turret being built right now, right next to that command center, so I think he's probably going to be okay as long as he can protect that turret. One Goliath goes down. He's picking off another one. He's trying to slow down the turret. He can keep building, and the turret is too far along. Sometimes if you have two... Oh, and the turret finishes... And it was the Dark Templar was just barely still within range. So the DT does go down. It's not going to live to continue harassing the external components of BOXER's base far out of range of that turret. Very, very crucial, actually. That could have been a real pain in a thorn in his foot, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say. More Dark Templars dropping in here with another Dragoon. He scans, kills the Dragoon, kills the Templar, and the other Templar goes down. Oh, this is very bad. Very little damage being done. BOXER was forced to bring that dropship back with the Goliaths back to his main base to try and defend, make sure he had enough firepower to kill off the Templar during the course of scans. And so he didn't get a drop off of his own. We see that Nalra has finished that expansion base on the island. BOXER is trying to get an expansion base of his own there. Dropping units around the map, it looks like, just trying to get some more control of the map, putting Goliaths on the low ground so they can walk around and do different things, try and intercept shuttles, what have you. I really wish that this game had not gotten started for another minute so I could rant about BOXER, but maybe I'll rant about it again another time. But really cool to see a game in the MSL Top 100 with BOXER in it. just one of my favorite players, and just a cool guy. Like he doesn't speak a ton of English, but he speaks like a tiny bit of it. But when he was with Slayers playing StarCraft 2, his coach, or his, I guess, assistant coach or whatever, Slayer Sella, spoke really good English, and so I talked with Sella a lot when I was casting StarCraft 2 for GOM, and so he like helped me translate for me to talk to BOXER a few times here and there. So I kind of like got to know BOXER a little bit, like, which is really cool. But also, like, you know, I just want to emphasize that he's just like a guy too. So, you know, he's just a nice guy, and I don't know. That's a rant for another day, though, about how you know, when you meet your heroes, you discover that they're human beings, kind of a thing. But in any case, let's get back to this game. BOXER has 3 dropships. He's roaming around the map with them, just trying to get map control. Nalra has this nice. It's weird. It's this base that's not like right next to his main. It's kind of weirdly apart from his main. There's a couple bases in between that would be closer, but I think it's a little bit more protected. I don't know. It's harder to find, but anyway, both of them just trying to maintain control of the map. BOXER floating his buildings around, trying to get different places. Now building a command center in the middle as well. This is a crazy map, and you need the air control. You need to be able to get around. A couple High Templar in the main, by the way. Robotics support bay. Curious what those High Templar are for. It might just be like if there's a drop, he's got insurance because he can just storm the crap out of Goliaths or something like that. Storm's pretty good against Goliaths. Obviously against tanks as well. If you can get a couple storms off, tanks, once they siege up, are immobile and they cannot dodge the storm. So Nalra getting another base up in the bottom left as well. BOXER has his 3rd up. So both players kind of about even as far as economy goes. Are going to be about even, I guess. I mean, I guess they're even right now. Both players have 2 bases up and running, I believe. Well, actually, this is extra BOXER's extra base. Zerber's going to spot it and immediately die, but brought the intel back home before, or sent the intel back home before perishing. But actually, I think Nalra has his 2nd base actually really up and running, whereas BOXER hasn't started mining at that 2nd base yet. So that's not the best situation for him. Nalra is going to get this 3rd base up and running as well, and just dropping off a couple random Dark Templar down there just to kind of defend. That's going to be pretty good defense, actually. If he drops Goliath down there, he can try and space out the Templar in order to bait out the scans. BOXER's going to have 2 or 3 scanners pretty soon, though. Here we come in. A lot of Goliaths dropping down on top of the Templar. The storms do go off, but they storm themselves as a result. And, yeah, very nice storms, but there's just not enough. He doesn't have the backup units to deal with it. And it's funny because he might have if he hadn't killed off one of his own Templar. I don't know if that one Templar did get a storm off, and those other 2 may not have had enough energy yet. So these Goliaths are going to be able to storm the beaches and take out all of the forces there. And because this weird air map, Nalra just does not have the ability. Nalra has a lot less map control, basically, because he's only got this 1 shuttle, whereas BOXER has built up a squad of several dropships to be able to move a large force around the map, and that is not too good at all for Nalra. Just this 1 shuttle is not enough to keep control of the map. He was trying to build little islands with their own cannons and a few units to defend and that kind of thing. But it just hasn't worked for him so far. The bottom left may be defensible. We're seeing that BOXER does have level 1 weapons on his Goliaths, by the way, making him a little bit more powerful, obviously. And BOXER's starting to mine at that 2nd base as well. So he's taken out one of Nalra's bases. He started one of his own bases. So things are now evened up. I guess maybe I was being a little prescient earlier when I said that they were even in economy, because now they've evened out in economy, basically, although BOXER has done significant damage and has more map control, so I feel like BOXER is ahead in this situation. We got a storm drop coming in here, and that base is just barely up and running, so this storm drop is like barely worth it. He kills off like five SCVs with 2 Templar. Obviously the Templars stay alive, so it's worth it, and he can drop off those zealots to harass. But BOXER is going to load up his giant floating army and run it over there before these zealots can get too much damage. So he loses, it looks like 7 SCVs total. So pretty effective drop. but it's not going to do a lot of long-term damage. Except for the fact that, again, BOXER doesn't have a lot of SCVs to go around, and it's harder for him to be able to get them over there. Hard for him to get them over there. So, and actually, BOXER says, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to drop your other base. I'm not going to let that one go for right now. Tons of Goliaths, a couple dozen Goliaths dropping down here. Storm does a lot of damage to one of them, and a lot of damage to actually several of them. But again, Nalra just doesn't have the follow-up units. The Storms are good to soften up all those Goliaths, but the Goliaths need a couple Storms each to kill them off, and there's nothing to follow up with. If he had a handful of Dragoons and Zealots there, then he could be able to pull it off. But just a couple Templar. Nalra continuing to play whack-a-mole, himself being the mole, and BOXER being the mole trap, I guess you could say. Sorry. But basically, Nalra just trying to build all these bases around the map one by one. BOXER trying to knock them down one by one. Nalra just having very little defense. Just trying to have... Basically, he's got enough defense that he couldn't just drop a few Vultures or a few Goliaths and take it out with one little squad. But not enough to defend against the entire army of BOXER, which BOXER's just sending his entire army around the map. And look at this. Nalra has mined out his main... And looks like he's going to load up a bunch of those probes. And what? He's dropping... Okay, Nalra's dropping probes in BOXER's main, so that's interesting. Along with a couple Zealots, which are doing some decent harassment over here. They're going to take out a couple Goliaths, but not do a ton of permanent damage here. The turret doesn't even go down. So, and it looks like BOXER is floating that command center away. So he never did go back and try and clean up those two Zealots. And that's a little bit of a... It's too bad because BOXER just could have dropped off just two Goliaths probably. Because I think those Zealots were injured and been able to deal with that. Here we go. BOXER's first-person view here. He's going to go in and drop the top right as well. He knows this is going on. This is Nalra's last bastion of economy right now. Storms going down, taking out some of those. Does he have more Storms in the bank? One goes down, another goes down. But the Storms kind of whiffing. And the Goliaths spread out enough that the Storms don't do significant damage, and these 5 Goliaths are left to clean things up. Can Nalra get some forces up to the top right? He needs to save that expansion. Losing a ton of probes, the Goliaths have noticed that there's easy pickings over there, and they're going after the probes, but it's not looking good for Nalra now. BOXER, I believe, has another base up and running, so he's definitely going strong right now. Well, actually, no, it's hard to tell on the minimap if BOXER does have another base actually mining right now. So they both might be in similar dire straits. Here we go, and the Zealots come in. One more Storm's going to take it out. So Nalra does salvage that base. He's got his entire army up at the top right now. He's sending his shuttles back in order to get those probes. And actually, no, I thought BOXER had a third base somewhere. There's the command center. No, I guess I was wrong. I thought BOXER had another base, but he does not. So BOXER is currently not mining. Nalra is currently not mining. So they're just forced to defend what they have with what they have at the moment. Nalra, I think, is pretty much safe in the top right. You know what would actually be a really clutch move right now is if BOXER just dropped Nalra's main. That would actually be devastating because Nalra's forces are on the top right to defend that. He actually doesn't have very much in the top left. Although, that being said, I'm assuming that BOXER had rebuilt, but BOXER is not mining, so he might not have been able to rebuild either. Here comes a little bit of a drop, just dropping off that Archon and a Zealot and a Templar. Just a special forces squad to go in here and do as much damage as they can with just a few forces. Dropships flying right overhead, actually. And the High Templar decides to spook those dropships by storming his own Zealot just to show what power he has. And those SCVs are... Oh, no! Wow! What is he doing? He knew those units were there. It looked like he even paused the SCVs and drew them away and then sent them back to those minerals again. So that hurts. That hurts a lot. These Goliaths are going to take out a shuttle! Yes, the shuttle goes down. Don't think anything was in it, but that is actually really bad. Nalra has started mining again at that top right base. He's building another cannon. He has still some forces there. This is just guerrilla warfare back and forth. Both players playing scrappy, just dropping off small forces here and there now. BOXER's army has been whittled down, so he does not have that giant group of... Oh, and 2 Archons pop out! Archon's splash damage is going to be almost as devastating as Storm against those SCVs. The handful of SCVs that were there go down very quickly. He's going to try and kill off that command center before it can float away. Nara doing a very brilliant job of just counterattacking. Oh no, he cannot lose that shuttle. He cannot lose that shuttle. He gets the units out at least and drops off a Storm, but he does lose the shuttle. Oh, that is bad because I think he did have a couple more units in the shuttle when he was trying to escape. BOXER's command center just floating ominously over that ridge, just soaking up damage. Now he's got 2 floating command centers. This reminds me of a lot of the games that, the ends of games that I played when I was playing random BattleNet games 20 years ago in college. I would end up having floating buildings all around the map. In fact, I think, I never got into a clan or anything like that, but me and my friends would often refer to ourselves jokingly as the floating engineering bays because we would so often end up with one engineering bay floating in the corner while the other person tried to battle off a 1v2 or something like that. Since I played a lot of 2v2s with friends back in the day. Anyway, so BOXER at least can float his command centers away. He's gotten 1 base mining, and he's got 2 other command centers that can land and start to try and mine at some point. These 2 Archons have a little bit something to say about that, though. 2 Archons, if he can get them out of the shuttle doesn't even... Oh, the shuttle does go down, I think. Yes, it popped at the end there. But 2 Archons are more than a match for... Well, they're more than a match for 3 Goliaths. They're not a match for 17 million Goliaths. No, it was like 8 or 10 Goliaths or something like that. Too much firepower focused down there, especially with the weapons upgrades that BOXER has. Archons are very, very beefy units, but they are just not able to pull it off. And I'm going to pause. Sorry about that. I'm waiting on an important phone call, and I paused the game for a sec to pick up a spam call, so my apologies. Anyway, getting back into the game. Nara is mining well at the top right. He's got significant defenses there. BOXER doesn't have his giant army of Goliaths, but he's getting there. It looks like he has 10 or 12 Goliaths on the map now. He still has most of the dropships. We see 2 on the map, 2 on the screen right there, but I think there's more as well. So yeah, there's a couple more. So BOXER does have a significant force that he can move around. 4 dropships is of course 16 Goliaths worth. Don't know if that's enough to take the top right. It is if Nalra moves his forces away, though. Well, there's five cannons there. That's significant. So I think it would probably be a little bit suicidal for BOXER to try and drop the top right now. Instead, he should probably be focusing on taking out... And look at this little audience here. This is a semi-final match, and there's just kind of people just kind of like chilling on chairs in this little studio area. This is the old days. This game was played in 2003, by the way. So an observer is there. The observer sees the Goliaths. Is he going to try and do a storm drop here? He's got the speed shuttle upgrade, and the shuttle's actually caught between 2 groups of Goliaths. If BOXER moves his Goliaths north, he can catch it. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! That is bad. That shuttle, I'm pretty sure that's the same shuttle that had like a couple Templar and Zealots in it. They picked up in the top right. That is really bad. I mean, Charon boosters are so good. Giving them the range upgrade on the Goliaths, they can just, if anything flies within their range, they can get a few shots off before they're able to fly out of range, even with the speed shuttle. Nalra is taking some cannons, putting some cannons down at this other base now. They are not in yet, though, and BOXER here is exactly what I was talking about, going in to try and take out this base. And Nalra a little bit whiffing on, again, storming his own Templar. I think that was when he was out of energy there. The last storm is what he needed. He needed to do a couple storms on that spot. But again, it's just too many Goliaths. Too many Goliaths dropping out several dropships worth of Goliaths in the same spot. And Nalra is just spread too thin. I mean, it's on an air map, you cannot get your army in a clump. You cannot fight a concerted battle with all of your units at the same place at the same time. Only a little surprised that Nalra hasn't decided to get shuttles, more shuttles, to try and match the dropship play that BOXER has. And I say I'm only a little surprised because it would be very difficult to pull off with Goliaths everywhere. The shuttles are it's just too easy for them to die. A little surprised he hasn't tried to go into carriers, perhaps, or maybe get an arbiter and try and do a recall or something like that, because he needs to do something to try and fight back against these other bases that BOXER has taken around the map. Before, he was doing a really good job of doing that by just doing out these small squads while BOXER had his army in one location. He would send out a couple Zealots and a couple Templar and attack these little bases in different places. But he's not been doing that very much recently, and the reason is because BOXER has really reached a bit of a critical mass of Goliaths in a lot of locations that the shuttles just can't get in and drop. And with the weapons upgrades, well, he's only at 1 weapons actually on those Goliaths still. So we got level 1 upgrades and then stopped. But in any case, these Goliaths, what are they doing? They're just kind of running away from these Archons, actually leading them. Wow. Traitorous Goliaths leading those Archons straight to the barracks so that they can attack that building. And anyway, BOXER trying to control this bottom left base, putting in turrets. He's got a few SCVs mining there. But again, this is kind of like there was a crucial timing for BOXER, which he took advantage of to take care of Nalra's new base. This would be a crucial timing for Nalra to take that bottom left base. When there's only turrets there's not a lot of anything else. Nalra kind of making the top right his kind of new main, starting to put a lot more infrastructure up there as well. And BOXER is just saying, okay, I've got more bases. I'm gonna secure this. I'm gonna spread out my Goliaths. I'm gonna put turrets everywhere. I'm gonna spread out and just make sure that you can't drop me while I get my economy going. And as you can see, he's building up more. Building up more factories in his base too to get more mech units out. And they were pointing at the starport. I think they were showing that he wasn't building more dropships, which is interesting. I would have expected him to be ramping up his dropship count if he was thinking about it. And actually, this is interesting. BOXER sending a single dropship out into 2 different locations. No, he's going to go from dropships from both sides at once. The storm drops right on top of those Goliaths as they come out. That was a really nice storm. And I think 3 Archons might be enough with these storms coming down. Yes, beautiful storms. Very, very nice. And actually storming all on top of the dropships as well. He actually needs to get those dropships out before the Archons finish them off. The Goliaths are going to do a little bit of damage, but go down very quickly, and that is actually not good. BOXER losing a good chunk of his forces there. Is he going to load up for a second run? I don't think he can afford to. Not with those dropships. It's so low health. They all took a couple storms, and so he's going to have to repair those dropships. Otherwise, they are going to go down with another, like I said, even an Archon hit, not even a storm necessarily. So BOXER looking to be in good shape, but losing his chance to secure a victory. If he'd taken out that base and kept retaining map control and retained his forces, would have been really, really, really good for him, really strong. But instead, BOXER getting stormed to crap when he dropped his units out, and Nalra a lot more on point with those storms, getting the clumped Goliaths instead of just 1 or 2 Goliaths, and doing a lot more damage, and having the backup units, crucially, having the backup units to continue the fight and polish off the low hit point Goliaths. So Nalra able to secure a 3rd base again, and whoa, shield batteries! That's awesome. Shield batteries going down. A couple shield batteries to refill the shields of the Archons, who are primarily shields, as you might know. There we go. There's the armada of 5 dropships, all loaded up with units. Is it an armada if it's a transport ship, actually? I don't know if an armada needs to have attack ships in it to be an armada. In any case, he's loaded up 5 dropships worth of units and going on the hunt. Is he going to try and drop this top right base? I don't think that would be a good idea. That might be a mistake. That top right base is no longer the priority because it's been mining for a while. If he's good, and yeah, top middle is probably the better priority. It's less defended. It's more important economically as well. And if he has a tank in there as well, that would be huge. Oh, here he comes in, but he's all clumped up in the back there. Storm goes down right on top of that dropship. And another on the other Goliaths as well. Huge, huge storms. The Zealots are chilling behind there. He doesn't have any ranged units. It's only storms. He can't get back there. He can't get back there. He doesn't have a single Dragoon. And that Archon is morphing within range. It's going to die. He could have pulled it back maybe to try and I mean, it's possible that Archon could get up next to the mineral patch and fire over the minerals, but right now that as Goliath is able to focus fire that Nexus down, he doesn't have a single ranged unit. This is actually hilarious. He doesn't have a single Dragoon there to take care of this. And so BOXER has done a nice drop here, and those Goliaths are getting a little bit confused and just going to die to that cannon if he doesn't position them away from the cannon. Wow. Again, Nara popping up another base, another mole to be whacked down with the mallet of justice that is Goliath's. But does he have the ability to do that, though? He lost some dropships. I think he might have lost all of his dropships, actually, in that drop. And so he's kind of stuck with his Goliath on that base. 3 Archons on this base now. And this base, where Nara is now going to try and continue mining. Oh, a shuttle went down there. Unclear if there was anything in that shuttle, but we just saw it pop just as they moved it over to that screen. It's really cute play, putting up a couple shield batteries in order to refill those Archons, but it didn't end up being enough, and that one Archon ended up dying while it was being created. In any case, here we go, BOXER coming in now. There are 3 Archons here. Well, there was 3 Archons there. Where did they go? Oh, one dropship is almost dead. He didn't repair it. It's going to drop, and he's got tanks this time as well. This is not good at all. The Archon's getting dropped over on this other location to try and disrupt as well. Very nice drop by both of them. And what is he? Is he building a bunker or a supply depot in the mineral line there? That is. Oh, it's probably a turret. Could be a turret. Yeah, it's a turret. Okay. I was like, what is he building there? So BOXER not just attacking and taking out that base, but looking to actually just hold it as well for himself, or at least to keep it away from Nara. And that's a little bit sad to see. I don't know why I didn't just build 1 Dragoon, actually. Like, instead of building Templar and wasting Psystorms on 1 Goliath, which was at low hit points. Nalra's managed to sneak his shuttles back around to the top right where he has some of his gateways. Nalra needs to do something right now. He's lost everything that he's been mining with except for that top right base, which is going to mine out very soon. He needs to counterattack. BOXER has 3 functioning bases right now. I believe. Maybe it's only 2. But either way, even if he only has 2 functioning bases, that is 2 more than the one that... No, it's 1 more than the one that Nalra has. And so Nalra needs to stop BOXER from mining or take a couple more bases very quickly. Now, Nalra has kind of re-established. He's taken out the Goliath in that top middle base at kind of the 1145 location. But he already lost the Nexus, so he can't just start mining there again, unfortunately, because he didn't have anything to get over the mineral line. And here we go in. There's the Observer going in to actually soak up damage so that he can get all the shuttles in, and they are able to drop a ton of units. This is exactly what Nalra needed to do. He needed to do this. He's actually, interestingly, saving his storm, not storming the SCVs, maybe waiting for units to arrive, but he might need to use the storm on the SCVs right now. There we go. There, he's using the storm on the units. The command center goes down. Storm goes down on a lot of the units as well. Nice. Takes out the couple of the tanks. Beautiful, beautiful play. Takes out the command center. And most of the SCVs, the 1 SCV remains that can immediately rebuild. But wow, this is... Okay, I didn't realize that other base from BOXER's has mined out. So there's nothing there. So BOXER is actually almost not mining right now. So again, we have another situation where both players are mining almost not at all. BOXER has a few SCVs mining. I think Nalra has no probes mining right now because the Nexus is rebuilding at that top middle position and has not finished. BOXER is mined out at this location, and he's got 3 or 4 SCVs mining at that left location, the kind of 630 location. I believe he hasn't actually moved a command center to that base near Nalra's in the top left. He actually, he's got SCVs there, but they're not mining at all. That would be he should probably mine with those, I think. What? Nuclear silo? Okay, and we did actually glimpse that BOXER did complete that bottom left base and is mining at it fully. So I was wrong. We saw him building that base earlier, but I hadn't seen it in a while, so I didn't know if he was actually mining from it. But he is mining a full mineral set of mineral patches at the bottom left base, and he has a nuclear silo attached to that command center. We might see some nukes dropping on the army, ladies and gentlemen, and This is gonna come back full circle if that happens, because it was in fact BOXER in his last run at the GSL when he was trying to be competitive in StarCraft 2. The last time he qualified into the lower rounds of the GSL, it was BOXER versus, I believe, a player named Avenge or something like that, who did nuke Avenge in the game to advance into the round of 16 and keep himself in the GSL. I think the next season is when he was eliminated after having gotten to the round of 16 to stay in it. But in any case, we might see BOXER dropping nukes in this game as well as a finishing move. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of skirmishing. We saw some skirmishing going on there. Looks like Nalra has managed to take the side right base, and he's mining there. He's dropping all of his probes from the top right there, so you can get a full set of mineral patches going as well. So yeah, we do see that spot in the top left that BOXER has just maintained that location with those tanks there and the turrets. Hasn't removed those units, but he hasn't taken it as a mining base, which, you know, it'd be very difficult to keep it as a mining base. So just keeping those units there just to stop Nalra from mining there. And here we go. This is the base that Nalra is mining from. He's dropping a lot of units there. A nice storm goes down. Could have been a little bit better placed. And I don't think he has what it takes to stop this. And there's... Whoa! There it is! He's got it! The EMP! The nuclear launch! The nuclear launch detected! GG! He leaves the game before the nuke drops! Oh, that is too bad. He should have stayed in. We could have seen the Nexus get nuked. BOXER takes the game. The nuke didn't land on his army. Oh, man. That is why we love BOXER. That is why we love BOXER. He's the kind of guy that will do stuff like dropping nukes and all kinds of other just amazing plays, and not just for the lulz. He does it tactically. I mean, like, he pulls it off. He actually makes it work. It's not just like a meme. He actually, you know, makes plays using, you know, strategies you wouldn't have thought of, and it's just amazing. So anyway, so good to see him win a game. Good to see BOXER in one of these MSL matches. It's been a long time since I casted a BOXER match, and it's good to see it. In fact, I think that StarCraft 2 match was the last time that I casted a BOXER match. 7 or 8 years ago or something like that in the GSL. Crazy times. Crazy times. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks very much for watching. GG. And, you know, maybe I'll see if I can find an old box. No, I see I can't do old replays, though. The old replays seem to all be broken. So I need to find some more modern replays to to do. But in the meantime, we've got MSL 100 games to play, and looking for other opportunities, other cool stuff to cast as well. So and again, keep tuned, stay tuned for more information about the quote unquote live event that I'm going to be doing. Probably I'm looking at like late end of July, like probably like July 20 to 23 area-ish or something like that, or maybe mid-July. I don't know, something along those lines. But I'll make an announcement, and I've got some games that I'm going to cast. I know which games I'm going to do for the live event. I've got some other games to cast with one of the players from it, so I'm going to cast those games as the announcement for the other ones. So anyway, that'll happen before too long, though. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. GG, and hope you're all doing well.